that has been making Israelis more anxious about their government's ability to stop the threats that are coming from Hezbollah. And everything that Netanyahu has promised his people, he has not been able to achieve. Also, the threat of Hezbollah, he could not diminish that. And it seems that Israel wants to dwell on the talks that were had in DC to try and put that responsibility on the shoulders of the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army to have them disarm Hezbollah.
Well, as much as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would like to think that he and his army of child killers could, defeat Hezbollah, hasn't happened yet, and it's unlikely to happen. Now, perhaps that could explain the reason why Netanyahu has agreed to a 10-day ceasefire with Lebanon. Trump announced that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day pause in fighting starting on Thursday, meaning today, at 5 p.m. Eastern time, following excellent conversations he had with each nation's leader. The Israeli and Lebanese governments agreed to the ceasefire following more than a month of war between Israel, and this is the important part, guys, pay close attention, and the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group in Lebanon. So was Hezbollah part of the ceasefire negotiation? I'm gonna tell you in a minute, but Cenk, first your 2 cents.
Yeah, so a lot of this one is complicated because of the role of Hezbollah. But what is not complicated is that the government of Lebanon is not Hezbollah. And in fact, does not like Hezbollah. So it's two people that are actually technically not fighting each other, Lebanon and Israel, that have made a ceasefire deal that doesn't include the person fighting against Israel or the group fighting against Israel. So all of this is nonsensical, and every, of course, mainstream media news anchors like, oh, we have a ceasefire! Woohoo! Trump and Israel deserve so much credit. Anyway, so look, what's really the end game here? And after it gives you all the facts, I'm gonna give you the most important fact of all about this issue. Go ahead, Ann.
Yes, well, Hezbollah has released a statement about this. They said in a statement that any ceasefire must be comprehensive across all Lebanese territory and must not allow the Israeli enemy any freedom of movement. Now, Lebanon and Israel both agreed to a provision in this 10-day ceasefire that would allow Israel to defend itself against any further attacks from Hezbollah. So let's just keep it real, guys. The war is still on. Because another thing that Israel plans to continue doing during this next 10 days is maintaining their occupation of southern Lebanon so they can annex that land. They have been overt about that. So when IDF soldiers get attacked by Hezbollah, they're getting attacked because Hezbollah is resisting their annexation of southern Lebanon. And I gather that they intend to continue doing so. So Cenk, you talk about the Lebanese government and how the Lebanese leader is not a fan of Hezbollah. If it were up to the leader of Lebanon, the current government of Lebanon, the Israelis would be in charge already, not just of southern Lebanon, the whole of Lebanon. The only thing, literally the only thing stopping the Israelis from doing what they truly want to do, which is taking over this land, is Hezbollah, which is why Hezbollah is, whatever you might think about them, they are an established political party. And yeah, they're considered a militia because they actually resist Israeli aggression and land theft. Now, if Israel stopped bombing its neighbors, terrorizing and then slaughtering Palestinians, they wouldn't have to worry about resistance to their actions. But you F around and you find out. And Israeli soldiers have been killed in recent days. So maybe that's another reason why Israel was open to a 10-day ceasefire. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see if they'll stop the fighting in southern Lebanon, but I doubt that they're gonna stop. Israel never honors a single ceasefire. They always continue bombing.
Yeah, so look, the reason why I say it's complicated is because Hezbollah today put out a statement saying, okay, we'll abide by the ceasefire, but what we mean by that is not Lebanon and Israel ceasefire, but America and Iran ceasefire, which included Lebanon. And now that Israel is finally, according to this ceasefire that they reached with the Lebanese government, is going to stop bombing and attacking Lebanon, if that's true, we'll abide by it as well. Now, having said that, one of their conditions is that Israel leave southern Lebanon and Israel has absolutely no intention of leaving southern Lebanon and has not left at all. So then Hezbollah put out kind of a useless statement. So I can't quite tell if that means that they're going to abide by the ceasefire or they're not. But Israel continues to blow up bridges that connect southern Lebanon to the rest of Lebanon. You're not and blowing up schools and hospitals within southern Lebanon. They want to make southern Lebanon uninhabitable, and they want to make it so that the Lebanese, they've driven out 1.1 million Lebanese from that area. That's ethnic cleansing. They want to make sure that they cannot return so that Israel can steal more land for greater Israel. So they're not going anywhere. They've camped out in southern Lebanon, and that's the most important fact. So if I thought Israel was going to leave, then it's a different conversation. But Israel's like Bob in the movie What About Bob? You think he's gone? He's not gone. He's always there, right? So yeah, they think, yeah, we'll get everybody to stop fighting now that we're in southern Lebanon and the Lebanese aren't. Mission accomplished, just like we stole 53% of Gaza, we'll steal southern Lebanon. Ethnic cleansing well done. So, and of course, America, American politicians will be like, oh my God, they were just defending themselves. So we sent them several $1 billion more, tens of billions more. And the American media will be like, oh, they had to take southern Lebanon. Poor Israel, poor Israel. So they're gonna try to brainwash us into believing that Israel's the victim here when they're a fascist, aggressive state. Now it's the cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows Israel's evil, right?
Sure is.
You could keep lying about it, but we have eyes. They're in southern Lebanon. They're blowing everything up in southern Lebanon. And that's because they're trying to get greater Israel. I can't stand the liars in our media. I can't stand them. I think they're the very worst people in the country. Go ahead, Anna.
No, I mean, look, I share your sheer anger when it comes to the way they lie to the American people about what's really going on. How are you going to argue that Israel is targeting Hezbollah when they carpet bomb Lebanon, dropping over 100 bombs onto Lebanon in a 10-minute time frame? How is that targeting Hezbollah? How is it targeting Hezbollah when there's a funeral taking place and for a man, by the way, that was killed by the Israelis, and his whole family is there, of course, because they want to honor their loved one who was killed. And then Israel does a bombing of the funeral.
Terrorists.
Killing his infant. Oh, is that Hezbollah? Was the infant Hezbollah? Do the Israelis see Hezbollah when they close their eyes and go to sleep at night?
I hope so.
Pathetic. I hope so too. I hope so too. Yeah. I hope they're as terrorized by the terrorism that they put out in the world. So let me talk about the deaths here. Nearly 2,200 people in Lebanon have been killed by Israeli airstrikes since March 2nd.
Terrorists.
Since March 2nd. They're terrorists. 88 doctors have been killed. UNIFIL workers, these are peacekeepers, have been targeted and killed. 6 hospitals have been shuttered. And if you pay attention to Israeli media and their politicians, they openly say they're doing this similar to what they did in Gaza. This is the Gaza model, the Rafah model. Satellite analysis and verified footage show Israel has systematically demolished towns across southern Lebanon, with more than 1,400 buildings destroyed since March 2nd, according to BBC Verify, which typically gets dog walked by Israel as well. But here, I guess they had enough tenacity to tell the truth. Here's more. The demolitions follow Defense Minister Israel Katz's order to accelerate destruction near the border using a Gaza model. Entire villages, including Tebe and Aita al-Shab, have been leveled in coordinated blasts. This is what they do. And I want to give you another example. Here's a school. It's a school in southern Lebanon that the Israelis just bombed. So there you go. There you have it. Yeah.
Wow.
Looks like Gaza, doesn't it? Where every school, every hospital, every university, this is what it means when they want to erase people. Yeah. Okay, they erase them by bombing the hospitals, bombing the schools, bombing the universities, targeting the doctors. These people are sick. They're sick. and they make you out to be the sick one. No, don't ever let them play with your head. They're terrorists. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, our media is the Goebbels to Israel's fascists. Because you think they don't know that the defense minister of Israel said we're gonna use the Gaza model in southern Lebanon? Do you think they don't know that the videos we just showed you? Wait, if you're only attacking Hezbollah, why are you destroying empty school buildings? Why are you destroying the bridges? Why are you destroying the hospitals? Why did you bomb their capital, Beirut, which is not in southern Lebanon? You think the media doesn't know this? No, they know it. And their job is to cover up all of that news, make sure you don't find out, because they must serve their beloved Israel. Their job is to lie to you every night, every day. Our national mainstream media works for Israel, and their job is to lie to you to get you to love their genocidal beloved Israel. I can't stand how disgusting they are, pretending to be journalists as they lie to you every single day. Have you reported the massacres? Have you reported all of the disgusting terrorism that Israel's done? No, you haven't done any of it, right? You're still all pretending to be that Israel's the victims. I can't stand it. Now, let's talk about, do the Lebanese have a right to defend themselves? According to our media and our politicians, no. Your job is to sit there and get murdered by the Israelis. How dare you defend yourselves? Terrorists, they say. No, they're not terrorists. No, the Israelis are the terrorists invading and occupying southern Lebanon, just as they invaded and occupied the West Bank and Gaza and Golan Heights. And by the way, they're also in Syria as well. So do the Muslims that are being attacked by Israel have a right to defend themselves? And everyone in our media says, no, if you dare defend yourself or your children, you're a terrorist. But Israel, as they slaughter your children, as they destroy your hospitals, as they murder your doctors, are the victims. Can you see why I'm so revolted by every single person in mainstream media? Okay, now let me ask you this. There's 2 million Christians in Lebanon. Now I know our media hates Muslims. They're the biggest bigots in the world, and they say Muslims have no right to defend themselves. That's only for beloved Israel. Only Israel has rights, right? But now you're gonna tell a majority Christian nation here in America that Christians don't have a right to defend themselves. No, only Israel does. Do you know that Armenians have now started joining Hezbollah and fighting back against Israel? Do you know why? Because they also live in Lebanon. And so they're fighting for their homes. They're like, what do you mean Israel has a right to steal my home? And has a right to murder me as a Christian in Lebanon? What do you mean they have that right? No, we fight back. Are you gonna call those Christians terrorists? I dare you, media. I dare you, mainstream media. You're used to calling Muslims terrorists because you're the disgusting bigots and racists, every single one of you. But you're really gonna go and tell everybody in a country that's 70% Christian that Christians have no right to defend themselves? And if they dare fight back against Israel stealing their homes, that they're terrorists and they deserve to be murdered? Go ahead, I dare you to say it. They imply it with every sentence. No one has any rights other than Israel. Well, that's just not true. It's just not true. The current Israeli government are definitely terrorists by any definition of the word terrorism, and they're obviously a fascist state that is attacking all of their neighbors and literally stealing their land right in front of our eyes. The only people pretending not to see it is the reporters in this country and the disgusting prostitutes that are pretending to be our representatives that serve Israel because they got bribed by the Israeli lobby. But no, our reporters will say, no, $100 million. Politicians are so honorable. The $100 million that AIPAC spent just in this last cycle didn't affect them at all. You'd be an idiot to believe a single person in mainstream media.
By the way, I mean, I'm gonna dig into this story as much as I can for next week. So I'll be working on this as a research project tomorrow. The 11th American scientist has been found dead. Like, what's going on?
Oh, by the way, Anna, to that question, to that point, Netanyahu in a video a couple of days ago bragged about we killed 12 Iranian scientists, civilians, doesn't matter.
Yep.
We murdered them. And by the way, some of them they murdered in front of their kids while they were picking up their kids from a kindergarten. That was from a couple of years ago. Then they murdered another 12, and then at the end of the video, he said, oh, by the way, and then the next day, we murdered another 8 scientists. So Israel murders scientists because they're terrorists. And so are you right to ask the question of who's murdering our scientists? Well, of course you are. These are the same terrorist sons of bitches that stole our nuclear secrets, that stole all of our top secrets while pretending to be an ally.
Yep. Anyway, I'm gonna look into that and we'll probably have a nice lengthy segment ready for you on Monday.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.